I'd like to do first is to get everyone to have an experience right here, right now, of what we're going to be talking about in just a second. So it has a lot to do with rhythm and music and harmony and all that, but I just want to go with clapping. So I want everyone to start clapping. Get the energy going. Let's go a little faster. Just feel it flow, feel the flow. Get the body opened up. Let's get a little noise going. Woo! AST! All right. All right, thank you. Doesn't that feel good? I know I feel a lot better from that.
I definitely felt a lot of work in my thyroid area, my right jaw, and my left foot that I've been waking up with basically it being a crippled foot.
Definitely some like tingling in like the third eye area.
I think when you put on the oil, like I calm down.
I feel amazing. I've taken so many deep breaths.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, well, we are live. I wanted to say welcome, and we're going to kick this thing off. I got the doctors on board. We're having a lively pre-chat, I got to tell you. Conversation. We are working with the quantum realm of life. Hold on, Dr.
In bygone eras, previous civilizations that have come and gone reached a higher pinnacle of civilization than we have so far. And part of what was happening is they just had more, I guess you could call them psychic powers, but it seems that people were able to, build like a little craft, a little hovercraft, and propel it with their thoughts. And it seems that one of the ways that these people may have built the pyramids was simply to use their minds to kind of melt the rocks a little bit, soften them, lift them, levitate them, stick them in place, and firm them back up again. And so the trick would be understanding, as we do in physics, that everything is made of physical matter, which is really little tiny bits of vibrating strings of energy. And if you look at a subatomic, model of an atom, you'd see most of it's space. And so there's fields of energy keeping these so-called particles apart. And so, like when we touch our hands together, we're really touching space. So if our mind can get around the fact that, well, the wall is made of matter, I'm made of matter, it's mostly space, can I change that field so that I can walk through the wall? And apparently people have done that. Or the guy in Eastern Tibet stuck his hand in the rock wall and made an impression in the rock wall. You could go there and see it, I suppose. So, it seems kind of far-fetched, but like I said, we're remote adjusting people. We're affecting physical matter from a great distance with our intention, which we know now to be packets of light, biophotons.
This is
so
where
range.
It gets really, really interesting when we start breaking down what actually is occurring from the interesting realm of thought and intention. Mm-hmm. And here's the everyday common examples. And I love sharing the everyday common examples because it helps us wrap our minds around this really difficult science, these difficult ideas, yet we have the experience. And the simple one is mother's intuition. That mother has the knowing that something is right or wrong or otherwise. Well, but we see this in siblings, in specifically twins. But even when people have close connections and new romantic partners, someone you've been around with your whole life, someone that you have a high emotional connection to. And chiropractors know this one all the time. You think about a patient you haven't seen in a while and they show up. We talked about this before. And I would venture to say probably every healthcare profession that has a heart component involved has the same experience. And so there's something about the communication of the heart. There's something very amazing about what it is to be a human being. And just like some history, I think what's being hidden from us. Excuse me. No, I'm alive and I'm not dying from the major thing that's happening out there. But what happens, I'm living the law right now. So I ate a bunch of fast food. I traveled hard. I stayed up too late laughing and partying and having fun. And well, my body has to recover. And the 4 primary ways of getting toxins and pollution out of the body, one of them is breathing and coughing. Excuse me. So I apologize for coughing like that. I can't find the mute button fast enough. Well, with that being said, George, the triune of life. Show that picture up again.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to add about mother's intuition is one of the ways I describe when I'm doing occipital drop and reading a person's field in practice. I said, if you can hear the sound of my voice and understand what I'm saying, there's like coded vibrations coming out of my mouth hitting your ear, and it translates into language. Animals, maybe we didn't always have that ability, and as we evolved or something, we developed the ability to speak and communicate that way. So what we're talking about is just communicating on another level of that. So here's the breakdown. We have on this side universal, meaning pertaining to things in the universe. And the major premise of chiropractic states that a universal intelligence is in all matter, continually giving to it all its properties and actions, thus maintaining it in existence. So intelligence affects matter via force or energy. And this is kind of the basis of how it works. There's intelligence as evidenced by the fact that there's repeatable behaviors like the law of gravity, for instance. So there are 2 kinds of matter in the universe that we know of. There's the non-living matter and then living matter, which is we call innate or born within. And so we have a subset of the universal intelligence in us, which we refer to as innate intelligence, And it's not our intellect, it's every living thing from the amoeba to us and everything in between has the requisite amount of universal intelligence showing up as innate intelligence to fully run the physical matter of the body that it finds itself in. And it does that by creating force, which we call innate force. So I'm almost there. When we apply universal forces to physical matter, like your house, your car, your shoes, well, it wears out over time because it's organized, but it's only organized to the atomic level, and whatever you build is going to eventually fall apart. But living things, us and all the other living things in existence, take the same kind of forces and grow and build and heal and repair and evolve from that. So how that happens is there's a special quality of the innate intelligence that causes that to happen. And when it expresses in high creatures like that have vertebrae to protect their high-end nerve systems like us, it's actually this intelligence expressing itself over the nerve system, which is what clogs up with extra stress and causes subluxation. So our job is to find out which bits of information clogging you up and preventing some of the life force from showing up in your body. Which of those bits are ready to be processed again? My analogy, I'm almost done, I think, is if my body runs on 3 cheeseburgers a day, but I eat 5, well, that's more chemical stress than I can handle. And eventually they're going to get stored, one on one hip and one on the other hip. And so to burn those off would be a process of going to the gym, working out. And similarly, the physical, chemical, mental, emotional stresses we face each day that we don't adapt to in that moment cause subluxation, which really represents, well, the body said, I can't handle the stress now, but I'm going to store it for later. And the storage fee is the bodily damage that we encounter. So the adjustment is about giving your body a second chance to handle those onboard stresses so that it can shine more light inside and then you heal. So that's my story.
Well, George, right on. And just to cap with that is the innate intelligence within, the wisdom within informs us as a group of doctors here. And this is the technique we use called the OD, and informs us where to apply the forces to create the adjustment to address that subluxation so the body can process, so you can thrive and express your greatest and most authentic self. So if that sounds good, rewind that, watch it again, rewind it 3 times, watch it 3 more times, because we've been talking about this for years. I know I've been doing it for 20 years. George has got a few years more under the belt. I went back to my alma mater where I got my chiropractic degree, and I was surrounded by people who have been studying this for decades. If this is the first time you're hearing it, deep breath, rewind, rewatch, redigest, and then put into play. The best way to do that is go below to the link, follow that, get access, because we're going to go over right now to the private members here. We're going to apply the adjustment process at the quantum level. And I didn't show the slide today, but we've often showed it in the past, where the non-physical levels of intention that we're working with translate to the physical realm of you living a higher quality of life. And that's what we're all about here. That's what many chiropractors are all about. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. We're going to move over to the other side and do that work. Again, click over to that, and I'll see you on the other side. Blessings and best regards, everybody.
What I'd like to do first is to get everyone to have an experience right here, right now, of what we're going to be talking about in just a second. So